Everyone, here's a solution on exercise 7.5.7. Okay, this is the question right here. Please, you guys, this is one of those questions that you really need to give it a try. You cannot sit on your desk and watch your screen and expect to gain out of this if you haven't given it a try to yourself. So please, guys, I dare you to at least try it as opposed to just watching me doing it. I must say, programming, you guys, is more or less like mathematics. Sometimes you gotta go through the problem of not understanding things, because that is actually the growth is, right? You really want to get to a point where you really are lost, and then once you get to that point and you've got no alternative, then you can check my solution. Please, you guys, give it a try. Okay, let's see what I'm gonna do on this problem here. I'll simply create two variables. Let's use a float data type this time around. It's gonna be my current year tuition. For a change, let's use a float data type, so it's gonna be 10,000. Okay, 0.0 f. What seems to be a problem? Let's see if we remove that f. You see, we really have to put it. Okay, our compiler forces us to do so. So let's see, for our number of years, let's use a short data type. Okay, number of years. For a change, let's use something else. So our number of years, will initialize it to 0. Okay, so my choice here, because the very first thing I want to do is to compute the tuition fee after 10 years. So that is my first goal, and I'll simply do that. I will work with my number of years. I wanna keep executing this loop while my number of years is less than 10. Okay, so the very first thing I'll do, I'll go number of years, increment it, and once I do that, I calculate my current year, because we're not starting from year 0, we're starting from year 1. Current year tuition, that's why I started by incrementing my number of years. Tuition, current year tuition. So sorry, you guys, some people are talking out. Okay. Now I wanna go my current year tuition multiplied by 0.05. Again, recall, you guys, we converting our percentage into a number. Okay, once we're done doing that, the next thing to do, folks, some people are talking here, so they are being destructive. Okay, what I want now is to declare a variable, and I will call it my 10th year tuition. That will be nothing else but current year tuition. Okay, once I'm done doing that, I will simply go, I will reinitialize my number of years. I'll initialize it to 0, because now this portion here, you folks, was actually taking care of computing the 10th year tuition. And right now, we want to find the tuition worth of 4 years, okay? So that's why I've got to use, what am I going to use? Another loop for doing that only. So here's what I'll do. I'll use a while loop, which is not the best case for this part of the problem, and I want you guys to tell me why I'm saying that. So it's gonna be a number plus. Oops, I've got to use post increment. Oh, I can use pre increment. However, I would have to go, because we want this to get executed 4 times. Number of years. Okay. Okay, let me. This will. So it has got to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So here's what I'll do. I'll go on my current year tuition. I'll update it by its 5%, the same way we did up there. Once I do that, I'll simply then once I do that, I'll simply need to update my. I need another variable here, and I will call it. Let me just make it a float. Final tuition. So sorry guys if you heard people talking. There was my mom, and I'm hoping she didn't get on our way. So final tuition. I'll go current year tuition. Okay. This portion of our program will actually help us find the tuition worth for 4 years. Okay. So the very last thing to do will be to use our print statement. However, it's gonna be printf. It's getting dark now where I am, so I've gotta wrap up after this video here. So it's gonna be tuition fees after the 10 years is, I'll put a $sign. I'll leave a spaces to the left. How many numbers after a decimal point? Let's go for something like 2 to input our format specifier. Okay. I'll then have my 10th year tuition. Now let me put it to the next line for visibility purposes. Okay. I want to go to the next line and then deal with this output. The 4 years worth tuition after 10 years is, I put a dollar sign, I put a percentage sign. Oops, that wasn't intentional. Okay, I put a dollar sign, I put a percentage sign, and I will then put 8.2 again. 8 spaces to the left, 0.2, and then F is our format specifier. And right there, I want to put my final tuition. Okay, I'm hoping it's gonna work as I expected. Just so you know, guys, I make errors, so please feel free to let me know in case I'm having a logical error somewhere somehow. I would super appreciate it. You let me know. Check this out, folks. You see, it seems like this number isn't the same as what we had before, and that is because people are making noise again. Oh, guys, it seems like, remember I just told you that let me know in case you found any logical error. It seems like I had one on my previous solution. This was the exercise right here. Check this out. Look at this number here. It is not the same as the one we will get if we execute that. You see, forget about the numbers after a decimal point. Point is, these numbers are not the same, and the reason is simply and the reason for that is because right here we used a while loop, and then right here we used a while loop. But that's not the problem. I mean, you could have used either one of them, like, that's okay with that. However, notice this. On our do while loop here, we increment our current year tuition before we check if the number of years is less than 10. So that tells us that this statement here, you see the amount we get here, if we compare these values, I mean the current year tuition on this line here, if we execute for the very first time, that amount we'll get, by the way, it was 10,500 if I'm not mistaken. Exactly, that's $10,500. If we compare it with the current year tuition we have on this program, you'll notice that once this loop is over, the values you will get once these two loops are over, this one here and this one here, are gonna be different by, if I'm not mistaken, by that amount, 10,500. So it's gonna be, in fact, it's not gonna be 10,500. It's gonna be some amount. My point is, these after these two loops have been executed, one loop will get executed. We'll have one iteration compared to the other. It will be one more iteration compared to the other. That's what I'm trying to say. And which one will that be? It's going to be the one using a do while loop, because we do this at least once. we start by modifying or updating our current year tuition before we check whether the number of years is less than 10. So now the conclusion here will simply be, in this case, what we want to do for this one here, in fact, no, the question, which loop is right? That's the main question. Which loop is right? And for the wrong one, what part, or what is it that we've got to do in order to take care of that? Okay, this is the right loop, you folks. This one here, this is the right loop, right? And why is that? Simply because even though both of them will get executed 10 times, but this one here, it also adds the amount on the 10th year. I hope everyone is clear there. You see, this one here, this loop over here, it also takes care of that. Whereas on the other hand, this loop over here, even though it by the time it finishes, our year number variable will be 10, but that won't correspond to the amount that's supposed to be there on the current year tuition. I hope people are clear there. And if you're not, I don't know. What I would suggest you do, you keep comparing the two, right? Till you find it yourself, or you can ask your friend or whoever, or ask me down in the comments below. So basically the solution here is to simply add this part right over here, finally. And then let's see. These numbers, they got to be the same. You see, now we're getting that. Let me hit the run button again. We're getting that. Now let's see if we do it on this again. It seems like now we're getting one and the same numbers. Okay, that should be it for this tutorial, you folks. I don't know if I've confused you, but the idea is pretty clear if you ask me. One looper was getting executed one more compared to the other, right? So we had to take care of that, and we did it by simply adding this, because once this part here is done getting executed, our current year tuition would not have the amount that it's supposed to, just because the very last year, which is the 10th year amount, it did not get added. It did not get added to the current year tuition. That should be it for this tutorial, you folks. Cheers, I'm gone.